who will call a spade, who will pursue the crooks on Wall Street and in banking and insurance. That's the way to do it. Disgusting.
Yeah, along with their talking.
I'll tell you, they made my life miserable. From 1967 to 1988. 21 years they were on my back. Almost all the time when I owned my own firm, I had 3 sets of auditors in my office. Cost me a fortune. Harassment because they didn't like me writing what I wrote and buying gold stocks, which was the antithesis and still is of what they represent, which is fiat money and thievery. You don't want to hear all that. That's enough of that.
But thinking of thievery, I got to throw this out because it's just been bugging me all day long. They're talking about that they extended the deadline for Madoff for his indictment, because they're still working on a plea. Well, the
guy should get a minimum of 15 years.
Well, how are they working on a plea? I mean, the guy's guilty.
Well, because he's one of them.
I know.
And, I just picked, look, there's a piece that just came through today from Boston that his wife withdrew $15.3 million from one of their brokerage firms.
She got 25.
And I know. Pardon me?
She got 25.
25 what?
Million.
She has 25 million.
She took 15 million at one date, and then a week or so later, she took the day before he went to the police and confessed. She took another 10.
Yeah, and you know where the money went?
Where?
Well, through the Israeli discount bank.
Huh.
And we reported on this whenever this happened, 2 months ago or whatever it was.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of people in government, the Federal Reserve, they're all in on this. It's $100 billion that they stole, and they're divvying it up offshore. And the SEC, the CFTC is involved, the Clintons, the Bushes. I mean, white-collar crime families that make the mafia look like small change. Unbelievable.
What do you think's going to come out of his plea deal?
He'd probably get 3 years at a one of these
Club Fed,
Club Fed or whatever they call them, and he'll consort with other criminals, and then he'll be out, and that'll be the end of it.
Unbelievable.
That's the way it goes. There's 2 sets of justice. For the rich and for the poor. It's always been that way, but it's worse now than ever. I mean, they are almost immune. I mean, he took the fall, so that means he must have got $10 billion. $5 billion, who knows? And his family was in on it. I mean, why would his wife be withdrawing money? Give me a break. The kids were in on it. I mean, you can't be in there in the same family and not know. Come on. It's disgusting. Well, anyway, we're getting our pound of flesh and gold shares and the coins. And all I can say to you people out there is you've got to buy. You got to get your food in. This is going to be very nasty. There's already legislation coming down the pike to take your guns away. It is bad. You're all going to become criminals under the law. So get ready for it. Unfortunately, I've been right about just about everything. And I can see what's coming. And there's only one way you're going to change it. Now, we have a question from Chris for the very famous melody, the Gold Diva. I heard Jimmy Rogers speak on CNBC yesterday morning, and something caught my ear. He insinuated the IMF should decide to sell their gold. Okay? A year ago, they were going to sell their gold. 2 years ago, they were going to sell their gold. They don't have any gold. The gold that they say they have supposedly is in the coffers of different central banks, which have been pledged to them. I get news for you. Most of it's been sold. So they really don't have any gold. But another thing, the excuse for selling this IMF gold that doesn't exist was that they didn't have enough money. No, the IMF makes its money by charging interest on money that they lend to others. Like the Ukraine recently, I guess they gave them $3 billion or something, whatever it was. So now, the IMF has enough income that they don't have to sell their gold. So then the question arises, why would Jimmy Rogers not gold? Well, let me tell you something. By and large, he is always not gold. I've known Jimmy Rogers for 35 years. Jimmy Rogers was George Soros' partner. Do you get the connection? Jimmy goes 95% as a captive spokesman, and the other 5% is disinformation. And that piece that he said about gold and the IMF is disinformation. How do you think he gets on television? All the time he's being quoted by CNBC. All the time he's on there howling. He's a controlled voice. The insiders control him. You don't make hundreds of millions of dollars with George Soros and not be part of the gang. Very simple. So you have to really discern what you listen to or accept as fact with Jimmy Rogers. The second one from Joe.
Did you see Howard Ruff on there this morning?
Oh, he's a crook.
Yes, he is.
A first-class crook.
Yep.
And I hope he sues me. He's been bankrupt twice.
Well, he even admits it in his book that he wrote.
He's a scumbag. And I know him personally. And his partner and assistant, Glenn, whatever her name is, I can't remember her last name. Bad people.
Well, he didn't look very good.
I'll be getting an email from him.
He didn't look very good.
He can go jump off a bridge. What?
He didn't look very good.
Well, that's promising.
Yeah, he didn't sound...
Well, that's promising, too.
Yep.
Well, maybe it's his time to go to the Lord.
Maybe.
And be judged, and he'll be judged very harshly. But we'll let the Lord do that.
But it's just another point, you know, they're parading the crook.
Well, he's acceptable.
Yeah.
You know, he won't do anything except make money for himself. I'll tell you an incident. This is interesting. Orlando, 1986. 2 conferences, Orlando and San Diego. His conferences. Now, just before that, he hooked up thousands of people and gave them life memberships, and they paid him some money. I guess it was $1,000 a piece, whatever the amount was. And there were a lot of these people at these 2 conferences. And about 2 or 3 months after that, he went bankrupt again. I had a booth in both shows, which I had paid for, and I had a couple of speaking spots in each one. And the only reason they let me into the conference, because they used to keep me out for years and years, was he was so hard up for money. For what reason, I don't know, but that's what Glenn Kunkel told me. So they gave me a workshop at 8 o'clock in the morning in Orlando at Disney World. And the room sat about, I would say, 300 people each. And he had a workshop the same time I did. And I had about 350 people, and he had 7. He went ballistic. And when I got to San Diego, he would not allow me to have my workshops. That's what kind of a mental midget this guy is. He's been living off the conservative movement and hard money for years. And there's a whole bunch of others just like him who don't have anything complimentary to say about me. And I don't have anything complimentary to say about them because I know their backgrounds and how much they've stolen and from where and how. Leaving that, the next question is Joe.